Welcome back to Hey Girl, Hey, Life Through the Lens of Female Friendship. I'm your host, Becky Kessler-Sykes. And today we're diving into a topic that's often delicate, always complex, and deeply human: family. But it's more nuanced than that. My guest and I are going to explore chosen family and family within family. The word family itself has all kinds of definitions. The most common one is a group of blood relatives, but it can also mean a group of related things. And really, it's no surprise that people define family in ways that suit them and support them, as they should. Have you ever dared to rethink what family means to you? There's a quote I love by Sir John Bowring: "A happy family is but an earlier heaven." And honestly, that feels like the perfect way to set the tone for today's conversation. Our guest today is someone who's absolutely on my roster of chosen family. I'm thrilled to have her here, my dear friend Lisa Sjolund. Lisa and I have been friends for over 16 years, and she brings joy wherever she goes. She's always quick to laugh, to be goofy, or to get her butt on the dance floor. She was the definition of growth mindset before it was even a buzzword. She's that friend who sends me interesting articles, suggests an art opening that we check out, or wants to try a new recipe. She's curious, adventurous, kind, and hilarious. She has an incredible career in international tourism. She's the best concert buddy you could ever ask for, and she's a huge animal lover. Lisa, hey girl, hey.
Hi, girl. Hi.
Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be with you.
Happy to be with you. All right. Well, let's jump right in. This is such an appropriate conversation for you. You have recently returned to a place and time that you hadn't been for decades to live with your mom and help care for her as she ages. I know people's experiences can be incredibly varied in this role as caretaker, but your experience with caretaking, though challenging, is really beautiful, and you have a really unique take on it. And I would love you to share that perspective with our listeners.
Well, I would say that my brother was actually taking care of my mom, living with her because of COVID happening. And then next thing you know, it was like 3.5 years that he was with her. And I was like, well, when am I going to get my chance?
You
Like
wanted a chance.
I did, because my mom is just the most loving, sweetest angel. And we actually enjoy each other's company. And I feel like she was so loving and special to us growing up, that I want to give back, And my brother was ready to make a move to Ventura. And I was like, okay, this is my time. And I knew it would be a huge change for me, but it's something that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad that I have. She deserves to stay home,
Mhm.
and be safe and enjoy her retirement, because she
Right.
worked so hard as a school teacher for 35 years. So I just feel like, that's
It's a
where I
gift.
wanted to be.
It's a gift you're giving back to her.
Yeah.
I think the challenging part for a lot of people is maybe their relationship with their parent isn't as positive. I think a lot of parents tend to be critical about how they're being caretaken,
Mhm.
and that makes it really tricky. Well, I would say your situation is unique in that it is so positive, and then just your outlook on it, of course, is positive to view it as a gift. That's really unique to you.
I'm lucky in that she has never yelled at me.
Oh,
She's never been mean to me, ever.
wow.
And I probably have been mean to her, which I look back on that, but as where I lose my temper. My mom doesn't lose her temper. Probably that's to a fault in some ways. Like, I want her to kind of like go toe to toe with me sometimes, but that's just not in her nature. But I think the challenge for me has been not having alone time, because I was living alone for a long time before I moved in with my mom.
Right.
And so taking care of someone else and the timing of that, and making sure they're fed and make sure that they've gotten everything, that they need, was a real adjustment for me, on top of work and other things going on.
Yeah, you're working full time. I know that dating is something you'd like to prioritize. It's a little tricky to do that when you live with your mom, and privacy and all of that. So yeah, there's things for you personally that I know have been put on hold a little bit. But that loyalty and call to helping out your mother and a family member is is really important to you.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to watch you go through that chapter. What do you feel like is something that you and your mom share now that you really enjoy, that either is a return to something you shared as a child with her or something new that you hadn't yet shared that now you're really enjoying?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Dodgers because she really loves sports and she loves like basketball, baseball, but I would say baseball is her favorite. And with the World Series and everything, but she knows their stats. She follows everything really closely. And so watching games with her is really fun. She reads the paper front to back every day.
Yeah.
She always knows what's going on. So we do have good discussions and we laugh. Like we will really get the case of the giggles every once in a while. So, but then when we want our alone time, that's fine too. Like,
That's great.
yeah.
And those shows in particular and sports, like you said, they're so good for your mom to be tracking the scores and the competitive part and everybody's names. And it's keeping her probably in a good cognitive place, which is important.
It does. She does that. And then puzzles.
Yeah.
She loves her puzzles. And
I've been over to your place with puzzles out on the table before.
Yeah, love puzzles.
So I know no family is perfect. And if they say so, it's safe to assume not true. Relationships are complex, and sometimes the people who trigger us the most are the very people that taught us those triggers in the first place in our families. But even though tough relationships have lessons, and we're not here to dump on anyone, this conversation is really about growth, grace, and finding connection where we can. That being said, I'd love to know, have you found family within your family? Because my guess, without knowing every dynamic in your family, is that some of them are not suited to who you are and who you've grown into. And that's certainly my experience. So who's your family within your family?
I would say, I mean, the first person that comes to mind is my niece, Hannah.
Love Hannah.
Because I always thought that I would have had kids and it just didn't turn out that way. And so, taking care of my nieces and taking them out, both Julie and Hannah, for the day or an overnight or whatever. Like, and I really gave them individual time. Like I would have only one of them spend the night, only one of them for the day, so that I could really give dedicated time. And over the years, Hannah really became actually part of the family and got to know you well, got to know Paola really well, because Paola and I living next door to each other for 20 years, roommates through the wall. I think Hannah witnessed all of that and participated in it. And now she's doing it too, like with her friends. But our relationship became a friendship too. I love talking to her about all parts of life, but I think she really got the travel bug from me, and also seeing the importance of friendships, and also from my mom. My mom had a group, or has a group of girlfriends that she would travel with once a year for 20 years, and all that, like keeping those really long-term relationships going. And with Hannah, I feel like she checks in on me. She thinks about me the same way that I think about her and check in on her. And having that, it almost feels like she's my daughter.
Well, it sounds like
it's a form of it,
right? Your mother sort of modeled the importance of those female connections and friendships, and your friendship with your niece Hannah started out more maternal, and then it's become more peer-like, with still a maternal element to it. But I mean, that's just a beautiful evolution. I can't even imagine all that she's learned from you and what you've modeled for her.
We love each other a lot, and we enjoy each other's company too. And I feel like, like just like we're sitting here talking, I remember sitting and talking with her as a young girl,
right?
At my apartment, like across on the couches, like you would talk to an adult almost, and letting her kind of think about life or talk about the things that she wants to do, and kind of like sit in herself as she's growing up, and that's been a joy watching that.
I'm sure it's been a joy for her, because you're the safe space for her to figure out who she is and who she isn't. What a gift. Okay, so that's family within family. She's still a blood relative. The other thing that really interests me is the idea of chosen family. And when I introduced you at the top of the episode, you are definitely on the roster of chosen family in my life. I live far away from my family. They're all, in another state. And so the friendships that I've made and taken care of and protected over decades are really, really important. They feel very familial. We both have built amazing friendships that feel as close as some blood relatives. What do you see as the main difference between chosen family and biological or blood family?
The biggest difference,
Mm.
I guess, that's really interesting. My first thought was that I could walk away from a chosen,
Yes, you
right?
could. Absolutely.
And from a family member you can't. But that's actually not true. You can, and I think like boundaries are really important with family members, especially that know how to push your buttons, don't treat you with respect, or don't take the time to get to know you and talk to you. And I think, like my brother and I is a really good example. Like we have always been close and we don't always understand each other, but we never walk away. Like we never hold grudges ever since we were kids. And I think part of that is the way that my parents raised us, in that, like, if we had a disagreement, we would have to apologize to each other and explain why we were sorry, not just, I'm sorry, and then go separate ways. We had to understand where the other person was coming from, which I think was really helpful. But with chosen friends, my first thought also, going back to like elementary school, Kim, Janice, friends that I've known since junior high, or elementary school. We've had our ups and downs. We've had our ebbs and flows where we're not in touch with each other or we have a misunderstanding, but we always come back. And I think you have to, with chosen family, I think you have to work a little bit harder,
Really?
to keep that connection and dedicate time. That's where I think the dedicate, because I think with family, regardless of time, that's always going to be there. But with friends, I think you have to make sure there's not too much time in between of getting together.
Yeah, you have to continue like building the infrastructure as you go. Whereas blood family, you're going to see these people at Thanksgiving. It's more built in.
Yeah.
They'll be there home for the holidays. You're going to see a wedding, whatever.
Yeah.
I totally hear that. The other thing that comes to mind for me with chosen versus blood relatives is, I don't know if you find this, but you're just a little more careful.
Yes, you are.
With family, you kind of let your gut hang out a little bit, and you might say something a little sharper than what you would say to a chosen family because, and this isn't good. This is, something I've learned over time too. I don't want to be treated like that from my family, and I don't want to be treating them like that either. We need to handle each other carefully and politely and have healthy boundaries.
And say you're sorry.
And say you're sorry.
Saying you're sorry is the most powerful thing.
And try to understand each other, like you said. But with chosen family, sometimes that comes a little more naturally because you met them, you chose them, you had to ask polite questions, and you handle them like
there's more care.
There's more care. They're a person you could lose more easily because they're not built in the same blood way.
Yeah.
An envisioning question. When you think about what your family looks like, what does it look like for you in 10 years? If you could choose a scenario.
Well, my fantasy is like a compound.
I know you love this idea. Please share. I think a lot of women are leaning towards this, actually.
And I have always wanted it. Like my fantasy is like somewhere off Laurel Canyon or something, and we have land, and then everybody has their own separate home where we have that community, we have that time together and of support, fun, cooking, life. But then we also have our own space. And I guess that probably comes to me from living next to Paola for 20 years, where like moving up to Valencia and being with my mom, like that, not having her next door to me has been a challenge, and something that I miss, to be able to be near you and our other friends. I just think that would be so wonderful.
The number one thing for long lasting friendships, the number one aspect that contributes to them is proximity, which is really practical, right?
Yes.
Well, it would be a loyal friend or an honest friend. Yes, those things are on the list, but the thing that keeps you friends for a long period of time is proximity. You have to have access to the people in your community. You suggesting having those relationships stay really close, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Then you have community built in as you age, and you can caretake for each other, share the financial load of having a piece of land. And
Well, I remember one time when we talked about this a long time ago, and you were like, well, some of us may have husbands, or may have a partner. I'm like, well, that's all right.
Before I let you go and we wrap up this episode, I have a list of rapid fire questions for you, Lisa. Is you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, great. Name a place on your travel bucket list.
Tokyo.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been? No.
I have not. I've been to lots of other places in Asia, but I have not been to Japan.
Okay.
And I really want to go to Tokyo. I want everything about it. Like, food's going to be a big part of it, but fashion, the energy.
Great. Love that. Lights on or lights off?
I would lean towards lights on.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. What TV show title describes your life currently?
Okay, well, the first title that just came to me, The Diplomat.
You're very diplomatic, and you work in international tourism. I like it. Very cool. Chocolate chip cookies or potato chips?
God, can I have both? Chocolate.
No. For the purpose of this exercise, you must choose.
Chocolate chip.
What's a song that's sure to get you on the dance floor?
What song doesn't get me on the dance floor?
True. Who would you pick as your road trip buddy?
Hannah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's going to be happy to hear that. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on Hey Girl Hey today. It's been so great. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please remember to like, subscribe. You can even donate to this venture on Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link to that in bio and also on our YouTube channel. Listen on Spotify, listen on Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcast. Let's get it going. Hey Girl Hey, saying goodbye.